Hello students, myself Dr. Rajni Mishra, Department of Library and Information Science, Banaras Hindu University. I am here in front of you to present the next lecture of Module 1. This is lecture 5, topic is experimental research. It is the most sophisticated, exacting and powerful research discovering and developing the organized body of knowledge. It is also known as interventional research, where there is a control group aimed to be tested. It is a classic method of research where elements manipulate certain stimuli, treatments or environmental conditions and observe how the conditions or the behavior of the subjects is affected or changed. It is a method of hypothesis testing and confirming and rejecting it in the light of the control variable relationships. The confirmation or rejection of the hypothesis is a probability rather than certainty. The researcher decides upon which effect the participant will be exposed to in this study. Post intervention, the researcher waits for the result, observes and obtains the data, and interventional studies are divided into two types, quasi-experimental and clinical researches. So, to define the experimental research, here are some definitions given by different scientists, researchers. The absence of an experiment may be described as observing the effect on a dependent variable of the manipulation of the dependent variable, according to Festinger. In experimentation, the investigator controls certain independent variables and observes the changes which take place in the form of the dependent variables. C.V. Good. The term experiment refers to that part of research in which some variables are controlled while others are manipulated and their effects on controlled variables are observed, stated by Vimal Shah. In its broadest meaning, an experiment may be considered as a way of organizing the collection of evidence so as to permit one to make inferences about the tenability of a hypothesis, Jahoda and Cook. Another important definition given by F.S. Chaplin is, experiment is simply observations under controlled conditions. When observation alone fails to disclose the factors that operate in a given problem, it is necessary for the scientist to resort to experiments. Thus, experimentation is an observation and organization of the data and the testing of hypothesis. Before starting the actual method of experimental research, let us understand some concepts, constructs, variables and research hypothesis which is used invariably in the experimental research. Theory. Social science research is cumulative, that is, current knowledge is built on prior knowledge. A theory summarizes established knowledge in a specific field of study. A theory in the social science is never a deterministic statement, rather it is open to revision and amendments. Theory development is an iterative and lengthy process. The more it is confirmed across time and space, the more robust it becomes. Theories are abstraction of objects, their properties are behavioral phenomena. Any theory normally consists of at least two concepts which define a theory's content and attributes. Theoretical propositions consist of relationship between abstract concepts, and testing theories, that is theoretical propositions, requires measuring these concepts accurately, correctly and in a scientific manner before the strength of their relationships can be tested. Concepts, they are the building block of the theory and represent the points around which social research is conducted. They are the mental abstraction of a particular instance organized around a main idea or theme. They are based on our experience on real phenomena and are a generalized idea of something meaningful. All words in the dictionary may be construed as concepts at some level. Concepts may have progressive level of abstraction. Some concepts such as person's weight are precise and objective, while others like a person's personality may be more abstract and difficult to visualize. So, in nutshell, concepts, they are developed in due course of time. When we observe situations, when we observe phenomena, when we observe conditions, and day by day we develop the concepts, and once the concept has developed, it leads to the development of the theory. Another important aspect is the construct. It is an abstract concept that is specifically chosen as per context to explain a given phenomena. When a concept is chosen to explain a phenomena, it becomes the construct. It is a concept with consciously added conceptual meaning for a scientific purpose. It can be measured directly or indirectly. It may be a simple concept such as person's weight, or a combination of a set of related aspects like multidimensional constructs such as person's communication skill, which may consist of several underlying dimensions, variables such as the person's vocabulary, syntax and spelling. The distinction between construct and concept is clearer in multidimensional constructs, where the higher order abstraction is called a concept and the lower order abstraction with added context are called constructs. Variables, it is a measurable representation of a construct or an abstract construct. Measurability is the main difference between the construct and the concept. Variable are the conditions or characteristics that the experimental manipulates, controls or observes. They may be dependent and independent variables. The independent variables are the conditions or characteristics that the experimental manipulates or controls in his or her attempt to ascertain their relationship to observed phenomena. And the dependent variables are the conditions or characteristics that appear, disappear or changes as the experimenter introduces, removes and changes independent variable. So, dependent variables are those variables which depend upon the independent variables for their manifestation. The dependent variables may be a score, the number of errors or measured speed in performing a task. Operationalization refers to the process of developing measures, indicators or variables, items for measuring these constructs or concepts. So, variables are developed to measure the constructs or the concepts. Independent variables are of two types: attribute variables, that is the characteristics or qualities of an object or person that can vary, for example age, gender, income and education level. Attribute variables are often used in research to categorize participants and analyze differences between groups. Organismic variables refers to the physiological and psychological features of an organism that influence their behavior. For example, genetic makeup, hormonal level, cognitive abilities, all these are the organismic variables, and these are intrinsic to the organism and can affect how it responds to different situations. Another important variable is the confounding variable. Those aspects of a study or sample that might influence the dependent variable and whose effect may be observed confused with the effects of the independent variable. Confounding variable, that is the confusing variable, we can say that is the confusing variable because they indirectly affect the dependent variable and independent variable. Intervening variables are those variables, confounding variables are of two types: intervening and extraneous variables. Intervening variables which cannot be controlled or measured directly and may have an effect upon the outcome. These modifying variables intervene between cause and effect. Extraneous variables are those uncontrolled variables that may have a significant influence upon the results of a study. Many research conclusions are questionable because of the influence of these extraneous variables. Only pure laboratory experiments are to be included in the category of experiments, as the experimenter exercises absolute control over the subject and are in a position to introduce stimulus in varying degrees while keeping other variables stable. Dependent variables are the outcomes or effects that researchers aim to explore and understand in their studies. These variables are called dependent because their values depend on the changes or variations of the independent variables. Essentially, they are responses or results that are measured to assess the impact of the independent variables manipulation. In a study investigating the effect of exercise on weight loss, the amount of weight loss would be considered the dependent variable as it depends on the exercise regimen, that is the independent variable. The identification and measurement of the dependent variable allows the researcher to test the hypothesis and draw conclusion from the research. It also allows researcher to quantify the effect of the independent variable, providing evidence for causal relationships or associations. Another variable is the categorical variable, also known as the qualitative variables, which represent types or categories that are used to group observations. These variables divide data into groups or categories that lack a numerical value but hold significant meaning in research. Examples of categorical data variables include gender, that may be male, female or other, types of vehicle, car, truck, motorcycle, bicycle, etc., or marital status, that is single, married or divorced. These categories help researchers organize data into groups for comparison and analysis. The categorical variables may be nominal or ordinal. Nominal variables are categories without any inherent order or ranking among them, such as blood type or ethnicity. Ordinal variables imply a sort of ranking or order among the categories, like levels of satisfaction, high, medium, low, or educational level, or bachelor's, that is high school, bachelor's, master's, doctorate, etc. Understanding and identifying categorical variables influences the choices of statistical analysis methods. Continuous variables are quantitative variables that can take infinite number of values within a given range. These variables are measured along a continuum and can represent very precise measurements. For example, continuous variables include height, weight, temperature and time. Because they can assume any value within a range, continuous variables allow for detailed analysis and a high degree of accuracy in research designing. The ability to measure continuous variables at very fine scales makes them invaluable for many types of research, particularly in the natural and social sciences. For instance, in a study examining the effect of temperature on plant growth, temperature would be considered a continuous variable since it can vary across a wide spectrum and be measured to several decimal places. The researchers often use methods incorporating a particular statistical test to accommodate a wide range of data points and the potential for infinite divisibility. The precision of continuous variable enhances the researcher's ability to detect patterns, trends, causal relationships within the data, contributing to more robust and detailed conclusions. Confounding variables are those that can cause a false association between the independent and dependent variables, potentially leading to incorrect conclusion about the relationship being studied. Other important variables which are which are present in the research are discrete variables, predictor variables, outcome variables, latent variables, composite variables and preceding variables. Discrete variables, it is a quantitative variable that represents quantitative data such as the number of children in a family or the number of cars in parking lot. Discrete variables can only take on specific values. They are quantitative value and quantitative variable and take specific value. Predictor variables often used in statistical methods, models. A predictor variable is used to forecast or predict the outcomes of other variables, not necessarily with a causal implication. Outcome variables, these variables represent the result or outcomes that researchers aim to explain or predict through their studies. An outcome variable is central to understanding the effect of predictor variables. Not latent variables are not directly observable. They are inferred from other directly measured variables. For example, include psychological constructs like intelligence or socioeconomic status. Composite variables created by combining multiple variables. Composite variables can measure a concept more reliably or simplify the analysis. An example would be a composite happiness index derived from several survey questions. Predicting variables, these variables come before other variables in time or sequence, potentially influencing subsequent outcomes. A preceding variable helps in longitudinal studies to determine causality sequences of events. Another important aspect of experimental research is developing hypothesis. Because we create a hypothesis in experimental research and we verify, we test the hypothesis and verify the hypothesis, which leads to the development of the theory. So, technically speaking, hypothesis is a Greek word that means an assumption subject to verification. According to Karlinger, a hypothesis is a conjectural statement of the relationship between two or more variables, constructs or concepts. It is a hunch, assumption, suspicion, assertion or an idea about a phenomena, relationship or situation, the reality or truth of which you do not know, and it becomes the basis of an inquiry. It is a predictive statement capable of being tested by scientific methods and can be made directly from the theoretical framework. It is the bridge between the theory and reality. Basically, 5 types of experimental research has been identified by researchers. They are trial and error experiment, where no structured plan of study, hypothesis is formulated and tried to test on actual social conditions likely to modified in the light of the gained experience. Controlled observational studies that takes place in the laboratories and where stimulus is provided to the subject and its effects are observed to find out the cause and effect relationship. Ideally, there is a direct relationship between independent and dependent variables. Experimenter concludes with an understanding of what and why of the phenomena. Natural experiment, also called field experiment, as experiment is conducted in natural environment. It is different from field studies because independent variables are manipulated in this type of research. Used in a wide variety of experiments like participative management, advertising techniques, training methods and effects of pressure groups. Ex post facto technique, field study technique and is helpful in studying the varying influence of two identical factors. It moves from present to future and experimenters moves from cause to effect phenomena. And laboratory experiment, an experiment in which the investigator creates a situation with the exact conditions he wants to have and which he controls some and manipulates other variables. This method is used under the assumption that the required situation does not exist and he must create artificially to study it. If experimentation involves some new and untried element or condition, then evaluation of the effects of this condition or element is done. At the cost of repetition, the condition or element being evaluated is referred to as the independent variable and criteria used for evaluation as dependent variables. So, 3 steps involved in the experimental process. One is selecting the problem, selecting the setting and pilot study. Experimental design, it helps researcher to test hypothesis by reaching valid conclusions about relationship between independent and dependent variables. It deals with such practical problems as how subjects are assigned to experimental and control groups, the way variables are to be manipulated and controlled, the way extraneous variables are to be controlled, how observations are to be made and the type of statistical analysis to be employed in interpreting the data. There are in experimental research, validity of the experimental setup, experimental research is very much important, and there are 2 types of validity required in the experimental research. One is external validity and another one is the internal validity. And control of variables is the important ingredient of experimental research. It refers to the extent to which different factors in an experiment are accounted for. For a successful experiment, it is necessary that the major independent variable should be varied gradually and all other causative factors should remain constant. But it is not possible, as researcher may vary the quantity of variables, but he may not be able to control other variables from creating confounding effects through variation. Experimental research can be conducted in laboratory or field settings. Laboratory experiments conducted in laboratory, that is artificial settings, tend to be high in internal validity, but this comes at the cost of low external validity, that is external generalization of the data cannot be carried out, cannot take place, because the artificial setting in which the study is conducted may not reflect the real world. Field experiments are conducted in field settings such as in a real organization and are high in both internal and external validity. But such experiments are relatively rare because of the difficulties associated with manipulating treatments and controlling for extraneous effects in a field setting. Treatment manipulation. Treatment are the unique feature of experimental research that sets this design apart from other research methods. Treatment manipulation helps control for the cause in cause and effect relationship. The validity of the experimental research depends on how well the treatment was manipulated. Treatment manipulation must be checked using pre-test and pilot test before the experimental study. Any measurement conducted before the treatment of the treatment as administered are called pre-test measurement, while those conducted after the treatment are called post-test measurement. Random selection and assignment. Another important feature of experimental design research is the random selection and assignment. Random assignment is a process of randomly assigning the subject to experimental or control groups. This is a standard practice in the experimental research to ensure that treatment groups are similar to each other and to the control groups before the treatment administered. That is, the treatment groups must be equal to each other and they must also be equal to the control group before the administration of the treatment. Random selection is related to sampling and therefore is more closely related to external validity, that is generalization of findings. However, random assignment is related to design and is therefore most related to internal validity. It is possible to have both random selection and random assignment in well designed experimental research, but quasi experimental research involves neither random selection and nor random assignment. So, the true experimental research and quasi experimental researches are different in view of the this random selection and random assignment of the experimental research. Threats to internal validity. There are some threats also to internal validity. As experimental designs are more rigorous than other research methods in terms of internal validity of their inferences, they are not immune to internal validity threats. Some of these threats to internal validity are described below within the context of study of the impact of special remedial math tutoring program for improving the math abilities of high school students. Here the math ability of the high school students has been taken as a result or as a research for the experimental research. History threat is the possibility that the observed effects are caused by extraneous or historical events rather than by the experimental treatment. Means they have this kind of phenomena associated with them, that is called the historical threat. For instance, students' post remedial math score improvement may have been caused by their preparation for a math exam at their school rather than the remedial math program. So, we can say that the improvement in the student after the remedial math classes is not due to the remedial class, but it is the history that the student have gone through a large number of practices and thereby he has practiced as much, so that result is positive. Maturation threat refers to the possibility that observed effects are caused by natural maturation of subjects. For example, a general improvement in their intellectual ability to understand complex concepts rather than the experimental treatment. That means the researcher, the observed, the observer, not the observer, the subject on which the research has been, object on which the research has been carried out is mature enough to understand the intricacies of the problem. Testing threat is a threat in pre-post designs where subjects' post-test responses are conditioned by their pre-test responses. That is, once the researcher has gone through the post-test, he has gone to pre-test and post-test, then he has understood the phenomena, the steps, and thereby he may respond, he is responding very well, and that is the testing threat. Not conducting a pre-test can only help avoid this threat. Instrumentation threat, which also occurs in pre-post designs, refers to the possibility that the difference between pre-test and post-test scores is not due to the remedial math program, but due to the changes in the administered test, such as the post-test having a higher or lower degree of difficulty than the pre-test. If there is difference between the pre-test and post-test, then that is known as the instrumentation threat. Mortality threat refers to the possibility that subjects may be dropping out of the study at differential rates between the treatment and control groups due to a systematic reason, such that the dropouts were mostly students who scored low on the pre-test. So, if the students are alert enough, he may realize that it is not possible for me and he automatically drops off from the research, and thereby known that type of research is known as the mortality threat. If the low performing students drop out, the result of the post test will be artificially inflated by the preponderance of the high performing students. Regression threat, also called a regression to the mean, refers to the statistical tendency of a group's overall performance to regress towards the mean during a post test rather than in the anticipated. Two group experimental design, it is very simple, where one treatment group and one control group is there, ideally suited for testing the effects of a single dependent variable that can be manipulated as a treatment. The two basic group designs are pre-test post-test control group design and post-test control group design. These designs are often depicted using a standardized design notation where R represents random assignment of subjects to groups, X represents the treatment administered to the group, and O represents pre-test or post-test observation of the dependent variables. Pre-test post-test control group, in this subject group, designed subjects are randomly assigned to treatment and control groups, subjected to an initial measurement of the dependent variables of interest, and the treatment group is administered a treatment representing the independent variable, and the dependent variables are measured again, that is the post test. The notation of this design is shown in figure. There R is the random assignment of subjects, O represents the observation of the dependent variables, and so here treatment group is treatment is given, and in here no treatment has been given. The effect of the experimental treatment in the pre-test post-test design is measured as the difference in the post-test and pre-test scores between the treatment and control group, that is O2 minus O1 minus O4 minus O3. Statistical analysis of this design involves a simple analysis of variance, that is ANOVA, between the treatment and control group. The pre-test post-test design handles several threats to internal validity such as maturation, testing, regression, and since these threats can be expected to influence both treatment and control groups in a similar manner. The selection threat is controlled via random assignment. However, additional threats to internal validity may exist. These are, for example, mortality can be a problem if there are differential dropout rates between the two groups. If the participants they drop out at different interval of time, then we cannot validate the result, and the pre-test measurement may bias the post-test measurement, especially if the pre-test introduces unusual topics or content. Post-test control group only design, where there is a control group and measurement is taken both at the time of after the administration of the variables. Treatment. The treatment effect is measured simply as the difference in the post-test scores between the two groups, O2 minus O1. The appropriate statistical analysis of this group design is also a true group analysis of variance. The simplicity of this design makes it more attractive than the pre-test and post-test design in terms of the internal validity. This design controls for maturation, testing, regression, selection, and pre-test post-test interaction, although the mortality threat may persist. Covariance design. The measures of dependent variables may be influenced by extraneous variables called covariance. Covariance are those variables that are not of central interest to an experimental study, but should nevertheless be controlled in an experimental design to eliminate the their potential effects on the dependent variable and therefore allow for a more accurate detection of the effects of the independent variable of interest. The experimental design discussed earlier did not control for such covariance. Also, a covariance design, also called concomitant variable design, is a special type of pre-test post-test control group design, where the pre-test measure is essentially measurement of the covariant of the interest rather than that of the dependent variables. The design notation is shown in figure where C represents the covariants. Because the pre-test measure is not a measurement of the dependent variable, but rather a covariant, the treatment effect is measured as the difference in the post-test scores between the treatment and the control group. Factorial designs, another important design method. It is a two-group design method which are inadequate if two-group design methods are inadequate if research requires manipulation of two or more independent variables. In such cases, design with 4 or more groups are needed. Such designs, quite popular in experimental research, are commonly called factorial designs. Here each independent variable in this design is called a factor and each subdivision of a factor is called a level. It enables the researcher to examine not only the individual effect of each treatment on the dependent variables, but also their joint effect called interaction effects. The most factorial design is a 2 by 2 factorial design which consists of two treatments each with two levels such as high, low are present and absent. For instance, say that you want to compare the learning outcomes of two different types of instructional techniques in class and online instruction, and you also want to examine whether these effects vary with the time of instruction, that is 1.5 hours or 3 hours per week. And there you have two factors, instructional type and instructional time, each with two levels, one in class and online for instructional type and instructional time, that is 1.5 and 3 hours per week for instructional time. If you wish to add a third level of instructional time, say 6 hours per week, then the second factor will consist of 3 levels and you will have 2 into 3 factorial design. On the other hand, if you wish to add a third factor such as group work, present versus absent, then you will have a 2 by 2 by 2 theoretic factorial design. This is a 2 by 2 factorial design. Here group 1 online with group 2, that is the online 3 hours, online 1.5 hours per week, and then in class and online in class 1.5 hours per week, 1.5 hours per week, 3 hours per week, 3 hours per week. This is the design notation. In factorial design, a main effect is said to exist if the independent variable show a significant difference between the multiple levels of factors at all levels of other factors. No change in the independent variable across factor levels is the null case from which main effects are evaluated. In above example, you may see a main effect of instructional type, instructional time are both on learning outcomes. Hybrid experimental design, there are 3 most important hybrid experimental design: the randomized block design, Solomon's 4-group design and the switched replication design. Randomized block design, this is a variation of the post-test only or pre-test post-test control group design, where the subject population can be grouped into relatively homogeneous groups called blocks within which the experiment is related. For instance, if you want to replicate the same post-test only design among university students and full-time working professionals, two homogeneous blocks. Subjects in both blocks are randomly split between the treatment groups and the control groups, and that is receiving treatment and the placebo. The purpose of this design is to reduce the noise or variance in data that may be attributable to difference between the blocks, so that the actual effect of interest can be detected more time. There is we can see the treatment introduced to university student and treatment introduced to full time workers. Solomon 4 group design. In this design, the sample is divided into two treatment groups and two control groups. One treatment group and one control group receives the pretest and the other two groups do not. And this design represents a combination of post-test only and pre-test post-test control group design, intended to test for the potential biasing effect of pre-test measurement on post-test measurements that tend to occur in pre-test post-test design, but not in post-test only designs. Here one group is given treatment and another group is kept as the control, and similarly in the also here one group is given design treatment and another group is the post test. In the pre-test, the treatment before giving the treatment, one group is given treatment and one group is treated as the placebo or control, and again the after in the next session after the second group is given treatment and the one group is not given treatment. Switched replication design. It is implemented in two phases with three webs of measurement. The treatment group in the first phase serves as the control group in the second phase, and the control group in the first phase is treated as the treatment group in the second phase. In other words, the original design is repeated or replicated temporarily with the treatment control role switched between the two groups. By the end of the study, all participants will have received the treatment either during the first or the second phase. Here observe treatment is given here, and here in the second iteration the second group is given the is treated as the placebo or observation. Quasi-experimental design are almost identical to true experimental designs, but lacking one key ingredient, that is random assignment. For instance, one entire class section or one organization used as the treatment group, another section of the same class or a different organization in the same industry is used as the control group. This lack of random assignment potentially results in non-equivalent groups, such as one group possessing greater mastery of certain content and the other group, say by virtue of having a better teacher in a previous semester, which introduces the possibility of selection bias. They are inferior to true experimental designs in internal validity due to the presence of a variety of selection related threats, such as selection maturation threat, the treatment and control groups maturing at different rates, selection history threats, the treatment and control groups being differentially impacted by extraneous or historical events, selection regression threat, the treatment and control groups regressing towards the mean between pre-test and post-test at different rates, selection instrumentation threat, the treatment and control group responding differently to the measurement, selection testing, the treatment and control group responding differently to the pretest, and selection mortality, that is the treatment and control groups demonstrating differential dropout rates. Given these selection threats, it is generally preferable to avoid quasi-experimental designs to the greatest extent possible. Many true experimental designs can be converted to quasi-experimental designs by omitting random assignments. The quasi-experimental version of the switched replication design is called the non-equivalent switched replication design. Regression discontinuity design. This is a non-equivalent pretest post-test design where subjects are assigned to the treatment or control group based on the cutoff score on a pre-program measures. Means previously on the basis of their previous activity, on the basis of their previous performance, they are treated as the pre-test or post-test design. They are given the pre-test or post-test design treatment. That is, patients who are severely ill may be assigned to a treatment group to test the efficacy of a new drug or treatment protocol, and those who are mildly ill are assigned to the control group. In another example, students who are lagging on standardized test scores may be selected for a remedial curriculum program intended to improve their performance, and those who score high on such tests are not selected from the remedial program. Proxy p-test design. This design shows in the figure looks very similar to the standard NEGD pre-test post-test design. With one critical difference, the pre-test score is collected after the treatment is administered. The typical application of this design is when a researcher is brought in to test the efficacy of a program, that is an educational program, after the program has already started and pre-test data is not available. Under such circumstances, the best option for the researcher is often to use a different pre-recorded measures such as students' grade point average before the start of the program as a proxy for present data. Separate pre-test post-test sample where two data sets are there to collect pre-test and post-test data from the same subjects of some region for some region. You want to test customer satisfaction with his new online service that is implemented in one city but not in another. In this case, customers in the first city serve as the treatment group and those in the second city constitute the control group. Non-equivalent dependent variable design. This is a single group pre-post quasi-experimental design with two outcome measures where one measure is theoretically expected to be influenced by the treatment and the other measure is not. For instance, if you are designing a new calculus curriculum for high school students, this curriculum is likely to influence students' post-test calculus scores but not algebra scores. However, the post-test algebra scores may still vary due to extraneous factors such as history or maturation, and hence the pre-post algebra scores may be treated as a control measure while the pre-post calculus scores can be used as the treatment. The different method of non-equivalent dependent variable design is the researcher can the interesting variation of the NDV design is a pattern matching NDV design, NEDV design, which employs multiple outcomes variable and a theory that explains how much each variable will be affected by the treatment. The researcher can then examine if the theoretical prediction is matched in some actual observations. This pattern matching technique, based on the degree of correspondence between the theoretical and observed patterns, is a powerful way of alleviating internal variable concerns in the. Now we come to the merits of the experimental research, which is the most rigorous and scientific method. It includes scientific vigor and mathematical logic, permits the determination of logic, cause and effect relationship, and testing of hypothesis requires a study of relationships under varied conditions, which is possible under this method only. The precision and rigorousness of this method makes it most suitable for this purpose. Drawbacks. Experimental research has some drawbacks also. It is one of the most difficult of research design and should not be taken lightly. This method harbors often a multitude of methodological problems, such as through experimental research requires theories for framing hypotheses for testing, but much of the current experimental research are atheoretical in nature. Without theories, the hypotheses being tested tend to be ad hoc, possibly illogical and second drawback is many of the measurements instruments used in experimental research are not tested for reliability and validity and are incomparable across studies, and consequently results generated using such instruments are also incomparable. Third, often experimental research uses inappropriate research designs such as irrelevant dependent variables, no interaction effects, no experimental control and non-equivalent stimulus across different groups. Findings from such studies tend to lack internal validity and are highly suspected. And fourth, the treatment used in experimental research may be diverse, incomparable and inconsistent across studies and sometimes inappropriate for the subject population. For instance, undergraduate student subjects are often asked to pretend that they are marketing managers and asked to perform a complex budget allocation task in which they have no experience or expertise. They have experimental research have some limitations also, such as the result obtained through the method are applicable in the practical situation, whether they are purely hypothetical is not clear. The generalization of the research is not possible. Human behavior is not governed by social causes, and difficulty in selection of settings, in eliciting cooperation and controlling the variables created by complexities of a social phenomena, its dynamics, nature and independence of human behavior is another important. So, the design of proper experimental treatment is an important task in experimental design, because the treatment is the raison d'etre of the experimental method and must never be rushed or neglected. To design an adequate and appropriate task, researchers should use revalidated tasks if available, conduct treatment manipulation checks to check for the adequacy of such tasks, conduct pilot tests, and if in doubt, use functions that are simple and familiar for the respondent sample rather than the tasks that are complex or unfamiliar. Although research experimental design vary widely in internal validity, designs with less internal validity should be overlooked and may sometimes be useful under specific circumstances and empirical contingencies. This is although this is the only one, but some references are there which I forgot to include. Sorry, you may see it. Thank you.